Hello, and welcome to Take Heart Journey. Welcome to a new year with all new projects, all new prompts, and all new themes. And I'm so excited for everything that we have ahead of us in 2023. Our main theme moving forward is going to be new thing. And if you've been here for a while, you know that this is a theme we've definitely touched on before. But leading up to now, for me, the theme of new thing was a hope, it was a dream, and it was something that was waiting for me in the future because at the time I felt like a buried seed that was underground. Well, we used our art that way too. I think that our art was used as a means to cope in the middle of hard things. And our art journals and our art helped us survive the suffering and the difficult times of waiting for the new thing to come. But now we're going to talk about how to actually live and function in the new thing, if it's here now. And I think that it is. And for me, the very first step of entering into a new thing is going to be healing, because we used that art and our Zoom community and all of our courses to get through the hard stuff, and we survived. But now it's time to heal from some of those difficult things that we have endured in our life. And so with a focus on healing over the next few tutorials, let me tell you my idea for what we're going to do. We are going to take different words that we have been called, names we've been called, or terms that have been assigned to us, and we're going to flip them on their head. So it's kind of like the strengths-based perspective. In social work, that's when you look at a client and instead of seeing all the things they lack, like a negative bank account or behavioral issues, you look at them and you figure out all the things that they have going for them, from their community to, all of the things that are resources in their lives. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to take these negative words, we're going to flip them, and we're going to find a way to look at them from a positive perspective. And here's the thing, I am so good at doing this for other people. For example, I hear someone call a little girl bossy. I'm the first one to think she's assertive. She's gonna withstand hard things in her life because she knows how to stand up for herself. I can flip that word on its head. I can do this for my friends, for my family. But turns out it is very hard to do for yourself. And so you get to come on this journey with me as I use personal words that have hurt me or that are a part of the narrative I tell myself, and we're going to flip them together. And so I can't wait to see what you make and the insights that you can provide for each of these words because of how personal they are in my life. So this week, our very first word that we're starting with is inappropriate. And for some of you, this may hit close to home. For others, this might be a word that confuses you. So I want to explain a little bit. I am the firstborn, the oldest daughter, and being inappropriate is pretty much the worst thing you can be. And for me, this is kind of like linked to the concept of perfectionism, because if there was anything that I knew I was supposed to be at all times, it was appropriate. And for me, this covers everything: dress, social cues, social behavior, social skills, conversation topics, everything that have always felt like I'm supposed to be able to walk into a room and be appropriate head to toe, inside and out. And yet I've always felt that I am inappropriate, whether it be the clothes I'm wearing are wrong, or my social skills aren't right, or I can't quite live up to the image that I am expected to maintain. I have realized that inappropriate is one of the strongest words that is resonating in my subconscious. And so you can imagine how freeing it was for me to make this journal page and bring God into this and realize that being inappropriate is not a sin, and being appropriate is not a virtue. In fact, when I look in the Bible at Jesus's interactions with his disciples, with the people that he interacted with and performed miracles for, I cannot find anything in there that is appropriate. It is all scandalous. It is all breaking social mores, breaking rules of synagogues, or rules between how men and women are supposed to interact, or, people who are cast off by society who are accepted by Jesus. And I can't find specifically any stories with a miracle involved where people are not forced to step outside of what is appropriate when they approach Jesus. I think his questions, his stories are all pushing people out of the box that they are in, and that the word inappropriate can actually be applied to a lot of the people that Jesus deeply loved, that were his friends, his disciples, the people that spread his message. And so that word being put on me, it was kind of in my mind lumped together with being perfect. But if God's the one who defines perfect, that is nowhere in his definition. And so that's why I'm not a perfectionist anymore, because my standards and my definitions of what is actually perfect are so messed up. And so this is a step in the direction of embracing who I am, that I don't need to mask my personality, my body, or any parts of me when I'm interacting with others, because God's the one who thought me up. He's the one who's brought me to each room, each social interaction that I am a part of. And so I can move forward and leave this word behind. So you'll have to keep watching to see how I flip it, what word or phrase I use to kind of counteract this word, so that when I start feeling those feelings like I am inappropriate, this is going to be what I think of now moving forward. So for the next few art journal pages that we're going to make, we are going back to an art journal, and I'm actually using this little handmade art journal. It is just pieces of mixed media paper that are sewn together with some waxed thread here. So Eric, my husband, made this for me, and I love the simplicity of it and how approachable it is. And it also, I think, is going to bring me great satisfaction, since there's only a couple of pages in there to fill the whole thing and have a little capsule of my healing time as I step into this new thing. Pull out your art journal, your paints, and let's get going, and let's tackle these words and flip them together. For supplies today, you will need an art journal, some paint, and then the supplies that you like to have around for intuitive art journaling, because that's what today is. I am truly using this journal page to wrestle through this word, and so I will be using a permanent marker, the one you see here, as well as some water-soluble crayons that I love to paint with, and then I have pink, lime green, and black and white, as well as some blue. And that is what I will use today, along with a stencil that I use to add some pattern and cool marks throughout my page. Now, in approaching this page, I really thought I was going to neatly and cleanly heal from this word. And as you can see, even from the way that I wrote the letters, it is neat and it is appropriate. And in approaching healing words, the words that we've been called, it can be really tempting to think that the way that we conquer the word in our life is by becoming the opposite. And so if I feel inappropriate, then I would try my hardest to be appropriate in every circumstance that I'm in. And frankly, I think that has been my approach for a lot of my life. But simply switching from the fear of being inappropriate to the goal of becoming appropriate is not what is going to heal me. It is facing that word inappropriate head on and really questioning it, like you saw in the intro, really questioning its value. Is this word a sin? Is this word actually something bad? And why does it evoke the shame in me to even think about it? And so the beginning of my art journal page, I knew exactly what I wanted my composition to be. I knew the colors that I wanted to use, but that neat little word was just sitting there mocking me because I could not for the life of me think of the word or the phrase that I could use to flip it. I could have made a very beautiful art journal page with this word staying right where it was, but that was not the goal. The goal here was to find a way to look at this with a strengths-based perspective and figure out how does this point to an area of strength in my life. What can I hold close to me now, knowing that this affects me the way that it does? The next time that I feel this, what word or phrase can I return to? And I could not think of it in this session. So I actually set this aside for a few days and I came back and I knew exactly what I wanted to say. I belong here. I wanted it big, I wanted it bold, I wanted it messy, and I love this phrase that I thought of because it means that to me, I belong here in general. I have inherent dignity and worth because I'm a human, because I am God's kid. And that means that even if I were in a place that I were unqualified, that I were not dressed correctly, that I couldn't read the social skills, I still belong. Who I am is important. It was designed. I am supposed to be here. And so I can take up space wherever I go and know that I belong. And of course, part of this is knowing that I am chosen by God, that He's the one who thought up who I am. And so all I have to do is exist, and I have value, and I have the right to be here. So now that I am processing the triumph of this word and also of my realization that being inappropriate isn't even something God ever called me in the first place, that this is an extremely man-made concept. I am going to just have fun on this journal page and be free. And so I have my Neocolor pastels next to me, and these are like the Stabilo All, and so they are activated when they get wet. And so what is on my paintbrush is actually matte medium, and I am using that to go over all the marks that I make with the crayons. And this not only deepens the color of the crayons, but it also sets them so now they will be permanent, and the next time they get wet, they will not budge. So after scribbling and doodling quite a bit, I'm ready to edit down my abstract. And I like the color gray that I used in the beginning, kind of to offset these bright colors as my neutral. And so you will see me cover the page with gray, with some white, and just play around with the composition here, like what I want to stay, what I want to go away. And frankly, at this point, the page made no sense to me. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I was doing. But I think that that was kind of the point, that I was actually using this journal as a tool to process through this whole concept and this whole idea. And I loved the freedom that I started to feel here, and the fun that I started to have, and the final product is so cool because there are so many layers. So this is when I really started to figure out and really let go of that original composition and kind of start a new one. So it's interesting to me that the new word is on the complete other side of the page. I kind of spend the rest of my time creating, processing through this new mindset, and then connecting that circle that says I belong to the other part of the page. And so I start doing that with this color palette, which I have really started to love as I create. And so I am going to use those colors to just create a little more connection between the left half of the page and the right half of the page. The contrast of the black here really helps me to start to see where I'm going. It defines this section of the page, and I think that instead of bringing darkness, it actually helps the bright spots to stand out even more. So I add in some white for contrast too, and I start figuring out how I'm going to connect that left side and that right side. And so I'm going to take a little bit of each color on my paintbrush and kind of make whatever shapes or marks I want, and then bring it across the page. And I love how this looks. It captures the freedom that I was feeling, the excitement that I finally knew where this art journal page was going, and it was a really cool step in this healing page for me to integrate that left side and the right side and start to realize that this was something that I could actually start to connect to personally as well. I can't wait to hear if this is a word and a concept that you related to this week, the idea of being inappropriate, and on the flip side, belonging. I hope that you enjoy the process of making your intuitive art journal page, of getting started for the year in a brand new thing by healing some of those old, outdated words that we have been called. I'm going to finish up my art journal page by lining the edges in black, and sometimes I do this because it just kind of frames the whole thing for me. It helps me see it and picture it as a completed page, and wow, I'm so proud of myself, the process I went through to make this, and the word I was able to come up with that was not just an easy answer. I cannot wait to see how you approach this prompt of healing words, and I hope you enjoyed the process today. I know that it was so meaningful for me, and I will see you on Zoom.